Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Mark Pyers, home-based business tax coach and wealth coach, CEO and founder, alongside of my beautiful wife and business partner, Mrs. Lavita Pyers, of the most incredible tax educational platform, the Academy of Financial Education, where we teach the masses what the school system is forbidden to teach, and that is the more you know, the more you get educated, the more you learn about the tax system and why it was created in 1913, the less you will owe. Guys, I'm telling you, you've got to get tax informed. Not being tax informed, not being tax educated. What do I mean by tax informed? I mean, you need to understand, fully understand, why you are taxed on your income, how you are taxed on your income, and more importantly, how to legally, ethically, and morally reduce the taxation. Did you know that the government will actually incentivize you to pay less taxes by earning more money? You didn't hear what I said. Your financial advisor is not going to tell you this. You're not going to learn this inside of the traditional school system at any level, whether it be high school, whether it be college, any university. You're never going to hear what I'm about to say. But I always say that documentation beats conversation. And guys, I can back up what I'm about to tell you with documentation, and I can back it up with documentation directly from the IRS and the federal government. Let me say that again. Did you know that the government will incentivize you with tremendous tax savings for making more money? I'm going to let that sit in for a minute. Because in this brief conversation, guys, I want to talk about taxes, debt, and inflation, and I want to talk about the current economy. I want to talk a little bit about politics, but I'm not going to get too deep into that because I think it's truly a waste of time. Okay, I'm here at the Nissan dealership. I'm getting my car serviced, so I decided to go ahead and turn on my phone and have a conversation that I could share with the people in hopes to make things a little bit better for you, and hope to give you something to think about, to ponder on, that may help you start to take your life in a direction to create what I like to call financial freedom. I think the greatest asset that we all have is our time. There's nothing more precious than our time. There's not a dollar, $1 million, $1 billion, or $1 trillion can buy you one more minute of time. Think about that. There's not $1 amount that you can think of that could buy you an extra minute, but there is money that can give you more time freedom to enjoy your time, okay? And so I'm going to briefly talk about, again, taxes, debt, and inflation, and we'll talk a little bit about the economy and a little bit about politics and what's happening, guys, with our government, because we've got to wake up. America is spiraling out of control from a financial standpoint. The US dollar is declining faster than it's ever declined before. Most people are not even going to understand what I'm saying. Okay? Your money, that $1 you have in your pocket, that $100 that you have in your pocket, that $1,000 that you have in your pocket, that $100,000 that you may have in your retirement account, is spiraling out of control in devaluating in purchasing power. I have a saying that says, it's not how much money you make that counts, it's how much money you keep. But it's not really how much money you keep that counts, it's how much purchasing power your money has. Let me say that again. You want to write this one down, okay? It's not about how much money you make that truly matters. It's how much of that money you actually get to keep. But in reality, guys, it's not really about how much money you get to keep. More importantly, it's about how much purchasing power that money is going to have. Let me give you an example here. So again, I'm at the Nissan dealership. and I noticed here on the wall some prices for tires. Now this is prices for one tire, okay? $169 per tire, $173 per tire, another $165 per tire down there, $85 per tire, $116, $129. You guys can see these prices. $99 per tire. How about this one, guys? $233 per tire. That does not include having those tires put on your vehicle. Oh, I can see the sun's coming out. It's been raining out here in California. Let me get a shot here. You've never been to California? They say it doesn't rain in California. Well, it is raining a little bit today. Not too much, and the sun's coming out. But let me get back to the story, okay? So why did I point out those tires? Guys, I remember, how many of you can remember, when you could get tires for $50, $60? How many, I'm talking about brand new tires for $50, $60. That tire that costs $85, that's roughly about $400 just for the tires. And you're gonna pay probably another $150 to have those tires put on and balanced. The average American cannot afford, in this economy today, in the land of what they say is the greatest wealth, the average American cannot afford a $500 to $1,000 hiccup. Let me explain a little bit about what inflation truly is, because most people don't know what inflation is. See, we think that inflation is prices rising. We think inflation is the prices of those tires that has increased in needing more money for the tire. That is an absolute lie, guys. Inflation is not prices increasing. Inflation is our value of our dollar decreasing. See, the government don't want to tell you that. The Federal Reserve doesn't want to tell you that. In fact, I'm going to tell you something that your financial advisor is never going to tell you. It's going to be really hard to accept this, but I can prove it. I can prove it, okay? I'm going to make a statement that's really going to send probably a shockwave to some of you, okay? The Federal Reserve, which is not a part of the federal government, they have absolutely no reserves at all. Devalues our currency on purpose. Let me say that again, because this isn't going to feel good. Because what you're going to think is, Mark, that can't be true. Why would the government devalue its own currency? Man, you guys better wake up. You guys better wake up, okay? The Federal Reserve, which is not a part of the federal government, the Federal Reserve is no more federal than Federal Express is, okay? And they have no reserves. They have absolutely no reserves. You know what they have? They have the ability to print money like monopoly money. They have the ability to raise interest rates, which robs you of more of your wealth. Think about this for a minute, okay? I had no idea I was going to have this conversation. I want you guys to think about this for a minute. The Federal Reserve raised interest rates because they said they had to slow down the spending in the economy. They had to slow down the money that you and I were spending, and so they raised interest rates. So what? So you couldn't go out and borrow. It would make it harder for you to go out and borrow money to do what? To patronize the economy. The Federal Reserve also went on record to say that the job market needs to soften. What do they mean? They mean more jobs need to be lost in order to enhance or grow our economy. I want you to think about that for a minute. What sense does it make to say that a certain sector of individuals or a certain amount of people need to be without a job in order to strengthen our economy? I want you to think about that for a minute. What sense does it make to say that people need to stop spending more money in the economy in order to make the economy better? I'm waiting. What sense does that make? So we need people to lose jobs, and we need people to go in debt and go broke and be homeless. In order to do what? Strengthen our dollar? Did you know that right now the United States of America government goes into debt by $1 trillion every 100 days right now? The United States government is going into debt by $1 trillion every 100 days. And there's nothing in sight that is about to slow it down. What does that mean? That means that the money that you have right now sitting in your bank account, the money that you have right now sitting in your retirement account is doing what? Being devalued. So you could have $100,000 in your bank account right now, and it's going to be $100,000 a year from now, but guess what? It's going to spend like $75,000. See, you know how they fooled us? They put numbers on the currency. So $100 will always be $100, but it will never, and it has never, ever, since it was disconnected from gold. Let me slow down, because I don't want you to miss this one. A $100 bill will always be a $100 bill. Why? Because it will always have a 1 and 2 zeros. But a $100 bill will never, ever, ever buy what it currently buys today in the future. It'll never have the same purchasing power. How can you say that, Mark? Because I did the research. I've looked at our currency purchasing power over the last 100 years, and here's what I found to be true. That it has always declined in value. It has always purchased less. There's not been one time in history since 1913 or over the last 100 years where the dollar has bought more in the future than it did at the current time that you earned it. And so if you know that your money, regardless of whether you still have the same $100,000, is going to spend like $75,000, which means you only have $75,000, if you know that your money is going to be worth less, don't you think you should do something about that if you can? If there's a way for you to actually protect the purchasing power of that money or increase the purchasing power of that money, do you think that it would be in your best interest to do that? There's a reason why they don't teach financial education. I'm talking about real financial education. I'm not talking about 1 + 1 = 2. Okay, I'm talking about real financial education. I'm talking about teaching you that you don't save in paper dollars, because paper dollars are designed to reduce in purchasing power. The U.S. currency is designed. It is, guys, it is not by mistake. Inflation is not something that just happens. It's created. The Federal Reserve is on record to say, look, we need at least a 2% inflation. What do you mean? How is inflation good at all? How is devaluing your currency by 2%, 3%, 1%, or 0.5% good? And who is it good for? That's a good question. Who is it good for? So guys, I've shared a lot. I didn't really have a plan on on jumping on here, but I figured I was at the dealership, and I go ahead and jump on here. So I talked a lot about what's going on, okay? I talked a lot about, the government now going into debt by $1 trillion, guys, every 100 days, and it's going to get worse. The world is laughing at America. Yeah, they are. The world is laughing at America. They're laughing at the fact that we can't choose a competent president. That's a whole different story. That's a whole different video. We're in trouble. We're in trouble. And I suggest that you get really serious about making some changes to protect your money and to protect your freedom. That's worth repeating again. I suggest that you shut off the idiot box, aka the TV set, and you get informed. Your government's not going to tell you the truth. You know how you know when your government's lying? You know how you know when the president's lying? When their mouth is moving. Okay? When the Federal Reserve tells you, oh, we're going to reduce interest rates 3 times this year. Oh, don't worry about it. Everything's looking good. But when you go to the grocery store, you got to choose quality over quantity. Don't you believe them? Don't you believe them? Okay? And so, Mark, what's the solution? First of all, you got to get tax informed. You've got to get tax informed. Why? Because taxes is your #1 financial cancer. It is the first way that you lose your money, through taxation. So you got to get tax informed. You got to find out, how does the government incentivizes me to keep more of my money through lowering my taxes legally, ethically, and morally. That's right. The government will incentivize you to make more money by allowing you to pay less taxes. Somebody's going to catch that one. Number 2, you got to understand inflation. You got to understand that you can't save in paper dollars. Paper dollars were never meant to be saved. They were meant to be spent and invested. So you got to invest. Mark, what do I invest in? Well, I'm not a financial advisor, and I don't want to make any claims publicly. Okay, if you want some, some pointers or some advice, I would say, then reach out to me. Okay, you can go to my email. I'll put it down in the subject of this video, and we can have that conversation. Okay, and I'll give you some suggestions, right? But ultimately, you got to make the decision. I'm not a financial advisor. I do not give financial advice. Okay, what I do provide. Okay, I provide tax education. Okay, I teach you what the school system is forbidden to teach, and that is how to keep more of your money. And then I can give you some ideas, of some things you can do with your money. But I'm telling you right now, you better not say, don't keep it in paper. Do not keep it in paper, because you're losing money. Okay? And the problem is that you can't see that you're losing it. You can feel it when you go to the grocery store, but you can't see it. You can't physically see it. It's like having your paycheck direct deposited. You can't see the taxes because guess what? You don't see your paycheck. Think about that one. Think about that one, okay? That's a whole different conversation. That's a whole different conversation. So you got to get tax informed. You got to truly understand inflation. You got to understand the things that you need to be doing with your money that's going to move faster than it's declining. And you have to have multiple streams of income. You cannot rely on one stream of income. You cannot simply rely on your 9-to-5 job anymore, guys. You can't do it. There's no such thing as job security. Have you not seen the layoffs? And then you have the Federal Reserve saying that we need to actually soften the job market, which means we need people to lose their jobs in order to strengthen the economy. Excuse my language, and if you're playing this in the church, you might want to go ahead and mute it. That's bullshit. And we got to stop falling for the okie doke. And we got to stop thinking that the government's coming to save us. They're not coming to save us. They're creating this mess, okay? And so those are 3 things. Those are 3 things that you can put in the solution box. I'll go ahead and recap them really quick as I get ready to wrap this up. You got to get tax informed. I don't give a hoot how boring it might be. It's the #1 financial cancer to rob you of your wealth is taxation. And you can legally, ethically, and morally reduce it. Drastically reduce it, okay? #2, you got to get educated on what true inflation is. You got to understand how your money is being devalued, the purchasing power, because it's not how much money you make that counts. It's how much you keep. And ultimately, it is not even how much you keep that counts. It's how much purchasing power your money has. What good is $1 million if a brand new car costs $1 million? Okay, just for example. Okay, so you got to understand how to protect the value of your money, and then how to get that money to grow without you having to trade your time. How to get that money to grow without you having to always exchange your physical time, an hour for $1. You got to figure out how not to have to do that. Your money has got to work while you're sleeping, because it is devaluing while you're sleeping. So you got to figure out how to get the money to grow while you're sleeping. And last, guys, but not least, you got to shut off that TV. You got to shut off that idiot box and stop being distracted by all the noise that's happening, because there's a lot of noise. So if you want more information, guys, I'm going to put my email down in the subject of this video. Of course, I can't get everything on one video. Plug into this station. Make sure you click the little bell so you are notified anytime that I decide to just go on a rant. And listen to the information, and this is what I like to say. Everything I say may not necessarily fit what your beliefs are, and that's okay. Because I'm not on here to try to convince anybody of anything. Eat the meat, spit out the bones, but do something. I'm telling you right now, you got to do something. $1 trillion in debt every 100 days, it's not sustainable. And there's going to be blood in the streets. There is going to be blood in the streets. The question is, what side of the fence are you going to be on when that happens? So with that being said, guys, Mark Pyers, home-based business tax coach, wealth coach, CEO and founder of the Academy of Financial Education. And as always, on behalf of myself as well as my beautiful wife and business partner, Mrs. Levita Pyers, saying to you, my friend, the more you know, the less you legally, ethically owe in taxes. It is time to stop procrastinating. It is time to start getting prepared. We should have done it years ago. But guess what? We can't cry over spilled milk. We got to get started. We got to start doing it today. So I hope you got some value out of this. Remember to comment, like, and share. And make sure you hit that little bell so you're notified anytime that I go live. And if you have not subscribed to my channel and you like this content, guy, go ahead and subscribe. All right? We'll see you guys on the next video.